Hello, welcome to my Sunday from today. Happy Memorial Day, and today we honor here on our channel in Studio C all the fallen men and women that died in the line of duty and you know paid the ultimate sacrifice for our country and for people around the world to be able to live how they want. And if they want to have a democracy, they can live in a democratic nation like us. And I feel like their memory is forever honored by us continuing to fight for that right to continue um, influencing other people that they can have a nation that they're proud of being patriot to, and a part of the you know part of their government, um, bipartisan or what have you. And I feel like that's lost in this world where there's so much trauma, and there's a lack of trust, and there's a lack of bond. And I think by us pushing for peace and democracy and influencing other people, that they could live like we do in harmony amongst the people. That's one of the things that I feel like if we can do that just as people, just as human beings sitting here, then we did our big one. And I think they will feel the respect and propers given to them as they look down from us. you know Today we honor the tradition and honor those men and women who served our country. So happy Memorial Day, and I hope you have your favorite soldier in your heart and remember them as they were. We love our soldiers. So today I have steak, I have broccoli with cheese sauce, mashed potatoes with gravy, and a bread. And I have bought this Texas Roadhouse steak sauce, and I also have this Crystal Geyser sparkling water in the flavor cherry. So people always ask, how do rich people eat? Well, I don't really consider myself like one of those kind of people. Usually when I eat fancy schmancy, it's because somebody opened a restaurant and I'm tasting the menu. But obviously also I do cook, like I make menus myself. So this is what I would feel like would be should be should be on the menu. It's a little bit, novice, a little bit amateur, a little bit cheapo, but you know what I'm saying? Like, the most expensive thing to me, in my opinion, per capita, was this sauce that I can't open for the life of me. um, $5 for this sauce, but I think it's worth like 12 ounces. Like, I mean, if you think about it, I think it's worth it. Like, it's a holiday, why not, right? But yeah, I bought a pound of skewers, beef skewers, and I bought some mushrooms, and I had frozen onions, and the gravy came with the skewers. And then this broccoli with cheese sauce is $1, it's 99 cents. And the mushrooms and gravy on top of this mashed potatoes, I just plopped it over there. And the mashed potatoes are literally from a Michelina's entree that I just popped it out and saved the rest of the meal because I'm making recipes this week. So, I mean, yeah, and a loaf of bread. I mean, this is like $3 bread, but it's for my diet. Special bread. It's special bread, yeah. And these are 6 for under $1.50 right now. So yeah, this is the most expensive thing on my plate. And I feel like if we're gonna say, what should be on our plate, what rich people should eat or whatever, this is probably it. right? And this smells freaking awesome. This is a type of sauce that I literally put on everything. It smells freaking awesome. Oh my gosh. And the moment we've all been waiting for. Does this cheese sauce hit? Ooh, it smacks. That hit me hard. I like it. So those mashed potatoes are good. Yep. So let's taste the steak. It's soft because it was marinating in the sauce. Plus, I had a sauce when I cooked it and all the vegetables. So it like made its own sauce. And then like, you know, I pounded it out so I could make like thinner cuts. This is definitely a really good meal. So they're saying, and I want to announce this actually, that we're supposed to get Tropical Storm Arthur blowing in from the Caribbean Sea, and our little friend is going towards southern Florida, and hopefully it doesn't get bigger because then there's a lot more area that it could cover, not just in the Caribbean. So it's growing right now because the moisture from the Pacific, because like right now they're having, was it Jengmi? They're having this cyclone that's forming under Guam, and kind of near the Philippines, nearish, like all those islands and stuff. But what it's going to do is go between the Philippines and Guam and rise northwest towards Japan's east coast. And it's going to graze the shore, not the shore, but the coastal waters. So hopefully it doesn't go near the shore and it's going to go out. So that typhoon, and like it's monsoon season over there on the other side of the world, and the Pacific has so much moisture, like the clouds are heavy, right? So they're blowing east, right? Because our weather goes east. And off of Africa, like I said, there's all this moisture near Africa, and this is the western coast of Africa, the northwestern coast of Africa. And that's where we watch our hurricane seasons, because they typically start, if you see something that lights up all your red flags from that area, it comes up and around, and sometimes, a lot of times, it makes it to the American shores and crosses onto land, and those are called hurricanes. And the precipitation and moisture and all that stuff coming in, along with the Saharan dust storm, is making a lot of tropical weather, like a tropical, not weather, but climate, perfect for tropical weather to form. So all the moisture is coming in to the Caribbean Sea, where it's going to kind of melt and form into a cyclonic, like a stormy, windy, gusty, ugly thing, and push northeast over islands and over waters, and even the Bahamian areas, like it's pushing all the water even towards a little bit towards the Gulf even. So they're on high alert, and obviously we're watching what happens, because if it turns into tropical storm Arthur, and right now it's perfect for its formation as far as turning into a cyclone, then you never know. So I'm telling you guys today, just be vigilant. Like I said, I think they're expecting moisture this weekend. Mm. So I've come a long ways without using fry methods and buttering things up. I've come a long, long ways without adding all this mayo and extra, balsamic oils. Those little vinaigrettes are full of oils and just, saturated fats and all that stuff. But I have a healthy, as you can see, diet, and I try to eat everything that I want and not force myself to, you know, take away everything that I love just to get, quote unquote, the perfect body. And I do this a lot for my health, to be honest. I've always known that I have to watch my food. There's some things that I really can't eat, to be honest. Um, things like avocados, certain types of food that have so much like fats in them. I know these are supposed to be healthy fats, but for me, it's a little toxic for me. So I can't really enjoy certain foods like that. Um, and like I said, it's a work in progress, but I feel like every little step I do, like not buying those things and putting them in my fridge, not stocking those things, helped me learn and understand as I went along. And it was a slow progress, but I feel like I have, educated myself by being productive. And, and I feel like I'm not an NPC in my diet, and I still can find alternate things to foods I love. And that's kind of key right now, because I kind of want my life to include other taboo foods, and I'm willing to go the extra mile. Like I said, if I have to do one more lap on a treadmill, I'd rather do that than not eat McDonald's. That's the way I am. Like I would rather, make sure that, I took my supplements and say, only ate half a portion or something, like, I can't do it. But everything, like I said, everything kind of, like, I can eat an avocado, like, everything kind of, it kind of cycles back to an original concept. And that would be, in my opinion, here, my Sunday front would be wellness. And because, like, I see the progress, and I see the promise of having a healthier future. Um, there's no telling what I can accomplish, but I definitely think that there needs to be a cap on the unhealthy things, thinking that dieting is forever, thinking that, portioning is forever, thinking that, you know, uh, training hard is forever. This is not true. This is not true at all. The only people that train hard all the time, go on an off season, and are literally athletes because they get paid to. So keep that in mind. They have expensive doctors. People, obviously try selling you things, and, you know, go and get plastic surgery and snatch their, body up and look, how they think in their mind they're supposed to look, and maybe it's not for you, or you wouldn't find that attractive, or don't care for that appearance. But, for some people, in their mind, they have this beautiful concept of what they should look like, and then they go and act on it. And I think sometimes that is extreme. And, like, with everything, we all need to kind of get a grip of reality and understand we can't be NPCs and just say, oh, just go do this to me, just do this to my hair, just do this to my body. It's the same as dieting extra hard. It's the same as work, grinding down to your last drip of sweat when you're exercising too hard. And like I said, it's like, taking too many of the wrong supplements, like, just because it says it's going to do A, B, and C, you know, like with everything, I think you should obviously consult your doctor. Maybe there's something a nutritionist could do, and a coach, like somebody, a trainer, something like that. Have somebody help you out. And as usual, keep everything in moderation. Keep it rational. Keep it positive. That's a one thing to go away from today. Keep everything positive in your life, because 9 times out of 10, it will bring you positivity and bring you positive outcomes in the future. You can succeed at something if you try it, but if you overdo it, or overcompensate, or kind of over add things to your life that you actually don't need, you're not going to be able to stick to them. Honey, it's like having 2 girlfriends, okay? What you need in your life must add value. That is how we are balanced in this universe. You know? So I feel like, you know, with all things, make sure you evaluate it, you know, for long-term effects. um make sure you clear it from, like, maybe ask a friend, what does this look like? What do you think? What's your opinion? At the end of the day, yeah, somebody else's opinion don't matter, but what does it look like? Get an objective point of view, like, that way you can kind of see yourself in that position. Is it something that I'd be proud of doing? And that's always a thing, being proud of something you're doing, being able to shine where you're at in life. If you have to restrict yourself from dairy or beef, red, meat, or, you know, sauces or condiments, like, you have to go whole grain a day. Like, can you deal with it in a way that's not crash out? Can you understand it from a perspective that is valuable to your wellness and health? And can you continue doing this, you know, with a positive mental, you know? Think about it. I wish I could drink this. That's what they say. You know, you have to have something positive in your life to be a winner, to gain, to have earned. You have to have something positive in your life. Part of not being an NPC is having control of your life, because, yeah, maybe you can't do certain things, or maybe it's restricted certain things, but at the end of the day, you control what you're gonna you know what you're gonna put in your body. You determine what progress you're gonna make and how many steps you're gonna take that day, and you determine things like that, like what you're gonna do to to entertain yourself. Like, what type of things do you do in your day that entertain you, you know? And that's one thing that I never touch on. And I think, a lot of people don't think about it, but we pay for a lot, for entertainment, including Wi-Fi. We buy TVs, we buy radios, we pay, for devices. And we even have monthly subscriptions. We pay for, accessories, and it's just ridiculous. We buy books and subscribe to certain things, and we go to certain events. You name it. There's food involved too. So you think about it, and I think a lot of our lifestyle, we get scared because we are timid. Like, what if they judge us, but, like, I think with entertainment, there's so many things to think about, and a lot, I think, for me, is like, where do you put your money? Because your money is your, that's your future. That's you in a bag. So, I think we should take everything a little bit more serious and take a little bit more time with things, including, where we get our entertainment, where we get our, how well we do a program for our wellness, and also our mental. We don't talk about that enough, I think, our mental. But like I said, you take the big chunks of your day, and you know what I mean? Like, what added value did they give you? And do you see yourself continuing in this direction if they don't? Like, there's so many things that we can't take cheap tricks and turn, you know, like a whole life in the future into a successful one by just dismissing it as, you know, babble or um, clout. Like, I hear a lot of people be like, oh, well, entertainment, that's just clout. You know, because, like, are you a Barty gang or are you a Barb's gang? Or are you from the Bayhive? 3 of these women are toxic. You know, there's so many, like, rappers that are toxic too. I'm not just picking on women. I'm saying there's toxic influences out there. You know, where do you put your money? Is it good for your mental? You know, whether it is wellness, whether it is your entertainment, whatever aspect of your life, you know, even work, like the job that you pick, like you pay for your clothes, you pay for, you know, the location so you can get to work. You um, pay for your gas and what kind of car you drive to there and from there. And within that whole work environment, you know, you still have to look that part, including your car. So if you pull up to the parking lot of your boss and he sees your car and he doesn't like it, he's gonna let you know. So, car included. Um, there's, you know, if you don't like your job and you're not, your check starts dwindling because it shows, like, you know what I mean? There's so many aspects of life that do harm your mental if you're not careful. Mm-hmm. Spend a little time and reevaluate. Mm-hmm. And plan better. Plan for success and include the positive things, because 9 times out of 10, if you can include them, then they're probably not going to be bad. You know, whatever task that, you know, is involved in your lifestyle, it'll be palatable and you'll be able to undertake that and, you know, and succeed. But I think, you know, for a lot of people, it's like there's so many ways to um dismiss you, and they start with those little bully tactics and they start hazing you together with other people, and they see how you're reacting and they're watching and they're hoping for your downfall, you know. And a lot of times you see them on the daily, a lot of times you hit them up on social media, sometimes you go out and hang out with them, you know. Maybe y'all don't plan it, but you know, it just happens. You know, there's so many ways that people come at your throat that you know, it's just a sly, it's a coyish way to get in here, you know, and there's only so much in here you can tolerate, you know. But I know you guys have a heart, and you know, and I hear you when you guys talk, but you know, I just hear a lot of negativity out there, and they just, you know, if it's not going to be family, if it's not going to be country, you know what I mean? God, country, family, it could be anything. They're going to take your spirit and, you know, just lead you astray. Like, a lot of people, they'll be like, oh, that was stupid. oh, don't worry, honey, I got you, because we're good friends, right? And they'll be like, you should try, invest in, and they'll say something real stupid. And they'll be like, well, I heard, you know, just anything after that, any type of lie. And, you end up doing something, whatever it was, because you took their advice and didn't want to look dumb and you wanted to come back and say, give them your little story, or, have some anecdote next time y'all were hanging out, or whatever. And it kind of made your belly flop. And lo and behold, it's because these people are playing with they're playing with your heart. They're trying to, destroy your soul. Like, a lot of people call it spiritual warfare. Whatever it is, you got to look out for these snakes. Like, some people think that they have all the answers, and you don't even know they're like that. You think that they're just fun, and, and they just, like life, and they're always bubbly and full of something interesting to say, you know? But to me, I just see a bunch of Regina Georges, you know, and inside they're baby Karens, just ready to unleash. And, I don't want them coming at my people. I'm tired of it, And I feel like we can do better because we are better. And period. Clock it, because it's true, you know? And I hope you guys, like I said, watch out, if you're in the Pacific or whatever, if you're in the Caribbean, like there's some scary stuff forming. So look out again. Check your weather if you're in those vicinities. Even if you're like Mexican Caribbean Sea, check your alerts and you know, do your best to plan and prepare and be ready. And thank you all for watching. Happy Memorial Day. And I'll see you in the next one. Stay from.